Well, I try to be fair, honest, and thorough, but I will be honest, I only skipped a few places in Nora's recent Lego series. And I'm trying to be nice here, but I'm noticing some issues and discrepancies. So let me not put off the big spilling of tea, and I'm still not clear what's going on. So the way I understood it is that Nora is near 50 years old, and she's in her late 40s. Because in one of the videos, I think she done messed up, to quote Rons, and just said out there, says, oh, she was visiting her grandchildren to give them food. That might not seem too controversial. The problem is this, that for months and months and months, she was trying to drive her fandom into a panic that Zero Dark Tony was targeting her children. Right? Now, let's be careful. Technically, semantically, that's not a lie, but I think she was implying that Zero Dark Tony was going after her very young children. Because that's what, despite their many disagreements, Nora and Aaron are converged on the theory that Zero Dark Tony is a predator of the children. And I guess technically speaking, Nora is still not lying, but kind of lying, because in one of the videos, and this is not the recent one, she was forced to admit, yeah, one of her kids, one of the children's, is 19 years old. Well, I don't know if they do things here in the East Coast like they do in the Upper West Coast. I'm going to be nice and discreet about Nora's location. Oh, that's another big fraud. She's in one of the locations that doesn't even have that much Scientology. Nora even bragged on camera that when the Scientology people called the police were on her side. Right. So she's literally in one of the most safe places regarding Scientology. There's really no fear that OSA or the Scientology people are going to mess with her, but she keeps crying and pretending, I am so brave, standing up to my Scientologies. Okay, alrighty then. But let's be fair. Okay, let's say she is actually 50. I think she may be a little younger. 49, 50. Okay, let's do the math. Okay, because I know she got married in her early 20s. Okay, so being generous, she gets married at what, 22? And then we had what, 28 years? Okay, let's be nice, maybe 25 years. Okay, that does make sense that whatever children she had would grow up right and in their 20s have their own children. I'm saying we have to be precise here because she's saying she's giving them like solid food. So these cannot be like little babies. It's not like, oh, she's celebrating the birth of, literally, maybe she is, but at least some of these kids, her kids would have to be what, 2 to 3 years old? Right? So when did they get married? When did they have children? What, when they were 17, 18, 19? The point is here, two things cannot be true. One is her implying her young children are in danger from Zero Dark Tony. Now, maybe they are. She's got other children who seem to be much older. They're full-grown adults. Is she seriously contending that Zero Dark Tony is targeting the adult children? Because then the problem becomes, well, then that destroys the child predator narrative, because it's like, well, wait, yeah, it's your children. This is a child. But the child is a full-grown adult, but Nora keeps calling Zero Dark Tony and Aaron, the Cho thing. We're like, wait, how does that work? Wait, huh? Or is she literally saying that her children, who are 19 and 20, they're still in danger from Zero Dark Tony? Anyway, I'm just kidding around. We know she's lying to us. But I just found it amazing. She just slips out these lies. There was another big lie. She accidentally outed herself. So she was going on recalling songs she heard and commercials she saw as a kid. Now remember, the grift is that Nora was trapped in a cage as a little child, and her parents just kept bombarding her with Hubbard Miscavige propaganda. Like, Nora was totally a victim here. She had no choices, guys. She grew up in Scientology like Iranis, so she never got the normality of the children's that you and I enjoyed. That was our child privilege we had. But then she slipped in and said, "Oh, remember, guys, growing up, we all saw that little cartoon, that commercial, for lollipops. I remember this quite well. Yes, I remember this. Wait. I thought you didn't have access to outside source of information. I thought like you were locked in a cage and All they fed you was the Scientology books and cartoons and documentaries and propaganda. You had no brain. This is a child with no choices. God, no, children cannot consent. No. But you had access to cartoons like normal television. You see, Nora chose to be a Scientologist as an adult. Yeah, anyway. But now let's concentrate on Aronis's grift, which is also equally stupid. So I've covered his fat phobia issues. Yeah. But I just want to make one mental note. That's why I emphasize Zero Dark Tony. Because when Aaron was stalking him a few months ago, he was yelling out, "Predator, Predator," because, Tommy Scoville doesn't exist. But anyway, recently I saw this video where, and this is pretty, even for Aaron, I know people are going to take this the wrong way and clip it, but hey, it is what it is. So there were some black people on the street because Aaron was following him down the street. And apparently there were some black people there. And he was yelling out "Predator," and some of these black kids were joining him in a car. "Hey, that's a predator too." So Aaron just keeps yelling "Predator," and these young black guys are joining him saying, "Predator, yeah, he's a predator. Predator, stop it." And Zero Dark Tony is just walking with his old mother. Okay. Alrighty. I also like at the beginning of that video, right, and that's a clip, right? It's not the whole video. I want to be careful and distort what happened with Aaron. He starts demanding, "Zero Dark Tony, you're going to apologize to Vanessa or Nora, your victims?" Right. But wait, Aaron, you're telling us Zero Dark Nora is crazy, stupid, narcissistic. She's really evil and just not mentally well. So wouldn't Zero Dark Tony technically be the victim here? Because you're making Nora into the monster recently. So how does that work? And literally, they were still angry and fighting one another. And Aaron was charging Nora with being a liar, and a pathological liar, which she is. So wait a minute. Wouldn't that mean Nora may be lying about Zero Dark Tony? Logically? Oh, forget about logics. The Aaron is just too busy hating Nora and doubling down on hating Nora. So does he even care about Nora as a victim? Or he just put that out there. Like, "Donnie, are you going to apologize to Nora? She's a victim." Maybe he's like an Aristotle magnanimous man. His great soul. "I still feel sorry for Nora, even though she's evil." Like Vanessa, I can understand because apparently Vanessa and Aaron are still fine. Vanessa, by the way, is not a child. She's a fully grown woman. So, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, Aaron put out a recent post. Even though all week he's been crying about Erica, a friend who got arrested, and his body fat. He was crying about that for a whole week. He's putting out this photo with him, Farrell Sherrill, who really hates Nora, and Eric Rader, who also really, really hates Nora. So he's got a council of the Nora haters. Oh, don't worry. They've got multiple hatreds. They hate DOA too. I'm very critical of DOA. I'm very critical of Nora. But I wouldn't say I really hate them. I don't spend my time or mind on that way. I'm just like, well, what they're doing is very questionable and very criminal and a grift. And I would have to give Aaron some points that this week recently, Nora's in a lot more trouble, right? Because to my knowledge, in her Lego videos, she did not get into Crackhead Kenny. Now, Crackhead Kenny is being accused of some very disturbing things. And Nora, for months and months and months, was saying, "Do you stand with narcissistic abuse? I have a question for you, men. Do you stand with Aaron's and narc-abuse?" And the problem was with me, see, I was critical of Aaron. So, because she keeps trying to paint me as an OSA agent and whatever. And I'm like, see, I put out videos very critical of Aaron. Even she had to acknowledge that. So she was kind of stuck with me. So, but she liked berating all these women. "Farrell Sherrill, do you stand with Aronis and the abuse? Do you, Farrell Sherrill? Natalie, do you stand with the evil?" Right. Now, to be fair, these are accusations. I think they're likely to be true. But Crackhead Kennedy apparently was caught, acting like a Kennedy, philandering and being verbally abusive. And we got to be honest, because Crackhead, Kenny is hard to describe, but I would say he does fit the mold of narcissist, although he's probably a very weird, unique case because he is very radically incoherent. So he just has issues with reality, frankly, as does Nora. But I think you would probably be able to classify him legitimately as under those two labels: narcissistic and abuse. You could probably label him. And Nora's like, not going to touch the subject. Oh, by the way, for a fact, she's been in DOA's chat a few times. So Crackhead Kenny and Nora do know one another. And she was very supportive of him until recently. And Kenny even called this out. He didn't name any names, but he says, it was weird for a while. Everyone supported me. But then I turned on DOA. I was critical of DOA and people just disappeared. I wonder who he's talking about. I wonder what large, gay, queer, fake activist he's talking about, who seemed nice and pretty, virtue signaling that DOA is a god. He's a good activist. He hangs around the beautiful black people. Not like Aaron and his all-white, alt-right grift. Which I agree, Aaron is racist. Pretty racist, pretty homophobic. So he's a complete cynical grifter, no doubt about that. And to be fair, I don't know for sure if Pharaoh Cheryl or frankly even Eric Rador are racists or homophobes. Though given that they're comfortable with Aaron, because I caught Aaron being homophobic recently. And once again, his fandom was like, oh my god, Aaron, you're so full of love. So why did he even try to confront Zero Dark Tony? Like, Zero Dark Tony, you're being really mean to the gay. So are you, Aaron. So I don't know. It's just a mess with those two. But I'd have to say for this week, Nora was worse because she's just ignoring the Crackhead Kennedy crisis, even though this is literally the issue. She kept berating Aaron for about 6 months. Now suddenly that half year of verbal whiplashing is like, I really don't care about it. I'm concentrating on my Legos and my old cartoons. How did you have access to these old cartoons? Did Miscavige just give you a special box set for Christmas? I don't know. Don't ask. Don't ask questions, guys. Just give her more money. She'll eat the food and hand it over to the grandkids, which proves that she's much older than she probably says she is. And there we go.